Yo, what is going on out there? What's good on the internet? What is good in sports? What is good in life? Came again with another video. And since it is early April, we're out here crowning national champions in basketball. And it is very fitting that I am wearing blue because both of the national champions on the women's side as well as on the men's side both have blue in their logos. I'm talking about the UConn women as well as the Florida men. Since I've been focusing more on women's basketball as of late, I'm going to start with UConn and then I'm going to get into a little bit into Florida towards the end of this here video. But congratulations to UConn. Congratulations to UConn. They won their first national championship since 2016, their 12th in their long, illustrious history, all under Gino Auriemma. And UConn won this one going away. Like, I don't think that there were too many folks outside of Connecticut that were expecting a blowout of a team like South Carolina. Like, we knew that UConn blew out South Carolina back in February when these two teams met on South Carolina's home court of all places. But I don't think anybody, heck, I don't even think that there were folks that even were within UConn circles that were expecting this to be as one-sided as it was. But the more the game, the more that the game went on, the more one-sided it became in favor of the Huskies. And as a result, the Gamecocks and Dawn Staley just didn't have too many answers. And that is very unusual for a Dawn Staley coach team to not have any answers for tough teams, because this is a team that knows how to beat tough teams. We've seen it, the past 3 seasons, but the past several seasons as of late, even going back to 2017 and even further back to that. But once again, congrats to UConn and congrats to that big three. I mean, first of all, South Carolina had no answers for Azzi Fudd. They absolutely had no answers for Azzi Fudd. If I remember correctly, she had 24 points, and she was really one of the anchors, one of the stalwarts, if you will, of that UConn offense. I mean, it's a big three for a reason. When you think about Azzi Fudd, Paige Bueckers, and Sarah Strong. By the way, Sarah Strong, I got the chance to watch Sarah Strong, down here in the Carolinas when she was playing at AU. She's just completing her freshman season. And she did that in a national championship game, a double-double in a national championship game. Let me tell you this right now about Sarah Strong. Like, it is probably way too early to start creating 2028 WNBA draft boards. But if anybody is creating a WNBA draft board, then Sarah Strong better be at the top of that draft board, or is it really a draft board? So at this point, she's definitely the leader in the clubhouse for 2028, because the way Sarah Strong plays, you would not think that she is a freshman. You would think she is a redshirt senior or a redshirt junior. She looks a heck of a lot more experience than what she is. But yeah, I mean, Sarah Strong is going to be a problem for years to come. And you also can't help but be happy for Paige Bueckers. I mean, coming all the way back from the torn ACL injury, and then, getting to this point, really leading her team through this tournament, coming into this tournament as a 2 seed, because there were so many questions about, UConn plays in a weak conference, so there's no way that we can have them as a 1 seed. And I remember they were trying to, I believe it was on the ESPN selection show, they were trying to create some modicum of suspense. Would that final number 1 seed be UConn or USC? And it turned out to be USC. Of course, that was a USC that had a healthy Juju Watkins at the time. But there was all that intrigue and everything as far as UConn and where they would be in the bracket. And UConn ended up going through 3 number 1 seeds in UCLA, USC, and South Carolina en route to a national championship. So the 12th national championship in history. And now it's one of those situations where, what to do if you're Carolina. Well, what to do if you're Carolina is, gather yourself and reload. I mean, South Carolina is going to be back. I think that's one thing for sure. South Carolina is definitely going to be back. I mean, they are not exiting the contenders chat anytime soon, as long as Dawn Staley is in Columbia calling the plays. So I am fully sure once again that for all we know, we could very well get a rematch. I mean, we could very well get a rematch of this same national championship game next season. But yeah, I mean, South Carolina is definitely going to be back. They are going to have a healthy Ashlyn Watkins. And I think that was one of the keys to the game. Remember, Ashlyn Watkins, who is one of their stalwarts of the interior, Ashlyn Watkins hurt herself earlier in the season, and South Carolina made it all the way to the national championship game without a healthy Ashlyn Watkins. And that injury finally came home to roost in that national championship game. So Ashlyn Watkins is going to be back. Full Wiley is going to be back. Joyce Edwards is going to be back. So I fully expect for sure South Carolina definitely is going to be back. They're not going anywhere anytime soon, because when you have top tier talents like Tessa Johnson, Joyce Edwards, Mylasia Full-Wiley, and Ashlyn Watkins on that team, not to mention what South Carolina more than likely is going to do in the transfer portal, because players want to play for Dawn Staley. Definitely for sure, South Carolina is certainly going to be in the conversation once again next year and for years to come. So, and especially those seniors that are about to leave or go into the WNBA, they got nothing to be ashamed of, because, they were part of really a renaissance era for the Gamecocks. So yeah, definitely for sure, South Carolina is certainly going to be in the conversation. But right now it's about UConn. Congrats to the Huskies. I mean, and for Paige Bueckers, I mean, when you're at UConn, you're measured by how many championships you win. Now, this is the only one Paige will win because she's about to go into the WNBA, but you're measured at UConn by winning national championships. And they've won 12. And there have been a lot of great players, obviously, that have come through that UConn program. You think about Maya Moore. You think about Sue Bird. You think about Diana Taurasi. You think about Tina Charles. You think about Brianna Stewart. You think about Nafisa Collier. UConn has definitely produced a lot of WNBA talents over the years, and they're about to produce another one with Paige going number 1 in the upcoming draft. So this is definitely one of those things where absolutely Paige has established herself in UConn lore. I mean, when you think about great players that have come through that program, she's certainly going to be up there. They are going to certainly retire her number in the coming years at Gampel Pavilion. So definitely congrats to UConn. Congrats to UConn. And like I said, a tough loss for South Carolina, but there's no doubt in my mind that with the talent that they have on that team, that they will certainly be back, and they will certainly be giving other college programs lots of problems in the coming years. So definitely for sure. And then also wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about Florida. Florida, they're a football school. But the last time that they had big time basketball success, it was in 2006, 2007, when they had names like Joakim Noah, Corey Brewer, Al Horford go through that program. So it's certainly been a while for Florida, but yeah, they were in a tight national championship game against Houston at the Alamodome in San Antonio, and they were down, if I remember correctly, I believe they were down 11 or 12 at the start of the second half, and then they began this furious comeback, which I know some Houston fans are already putting on the fact that Ted Cruz was at the game, the Ted Cruz curse. But yeah, props to Florida. I mean, these types of games come down to who makes the plays late, and they definitely made the plays late. But that last play for Houston, I mean, that is definitely like, I could only imagine Kelvin Sampson and those kids, they are definitely going to be replaying that play for a pretty good long time, because Houston didn't even get a shot off that last possession. So I can only imagine how they feel being so close only to have it ripped away from them at the hands of the Florida Gators, chomped away from them at the hands of the Florida Gators. So certainly heartbreaking Houston, but definitely congrats to Florida. I mean, like I said, they made the plays when it mattered, and they will be having a happy trip from San Antonio back to Gainesville as national champions. So congrats to the Florida men and congrats to the UConn women. Paige Bueckers going into the W as a national champion. So just wanted to come on here, just wanted to congratulate both teams. Rate, comment, react, reply, add, and subscribe. It's so amazing when you think about on the women's side, the WNBA draft is next week. That's so amazing that those that just completed the tournament, like Paige Bueckers, they are going to go immediately into the WNBA. They are going to hear their names called by WNBA teams in a week. As soon as March Madness comes to a close, they're going to be going into the pros and having their names called by WNBA teams. Absolutely amazing, the quick turnaround from the tournament into the W. So, but yeah, once again, rate, comment, react, reply, add, and subscribe. Once again, just one guy coming on here, congratulating a couple of national champions in basketball. Florida's men and UConn's women. 12 national championships for the UConn women. So until next time, this is Keem signing off. Party in stores, party in Gainesville. See you on the internet someplace.